Hey, so we are back with the Vampire Lestat episode 5. This episode was, I feel like every relationship and every storyline that we as the audience has wanted just a little piece of, we got it. And we met the queen mother, Akasha. Um I'm gonna go out of order in how I'm talking about things, but first thing that I really remember outside of Akasha from this episode was not Claudia, Regina and Louis and their interaction at the diner and them together. It was comical, but yet it felt so icky and so weird because that's when it really dawns onto you that Louis is literally going along with this, not even just facade, literally like another play, literally another play directed by him being acted out by Regina, aka Claudia, and it's supposed to be makeshift Madeline. I was like, first of all, the wig, the wig was wigging, and then she's supposed to be French, and then they're supposed to be playing into vampires, and she was like, theater people spook me a little bit, and this is going on. Well, really, makeup Madeline is talking about how they found somebody and they drained them. And for a minute, you like, I know he didn't turn her ass. Like, Louis, I know you didn't do that shit. But no, he's literally going along with it. And like, he's paying her to go along with this fantasy of his. And it's like, I hate to keep going back to Louis being a pimp with a limp, but he literally is a pimp with a limp. Everything about him comes back to some capitalist structure or idea, and I think that just plays a lot into who he is as an American and also who he is as a Black American in the time that he was alive, and even to this day where Black Americans are really just seen as pretty much the work mule of this country, and pretty much the one invaluable resource that you really can't get anywhere. Like, Black people, not only just physically but also spiritually and culturally, have enriched this country in ways that really can't be measured. And so it's interesting how Louis, I think it's a crutch but also like a way he protects himself, like, well, I'm just getting my money. And I say back to the pimp because once again, he's like a John paying Regina to go along with this, play, this facade, for the time being, and give him this fantasy to get what he wants out of it. And I know that gives like a sexual innuendo, but that's literally what it is. And then when they start kissing in front of him, you could tell he weirded out. And I think in that moment he like, bro, I gotta stop. This shit done gone too damn far. This is just no. Like, ew. What the fuck? To jump around a bit, I want to go to Armand and Daniel because we found out what I've always been suspecting, especially when we found out in season 2 that he called himself helping Louis and Daniel by wiping away their memories. And he finally says, in season 1 and in season 2, he kept him around. He had a hunch for him, and he was preserving Louis's happiness even when he can't. To find out that he's literally been the orchestrator of Daniel's life for these past 52 years, like all of his ups and downs, his drug addiction, every single thing in his life has literally been orchestrated by Armand. Like, even the most mundane task, this man put you on a path that he knew you would be on, and that he knew you would interact with him later on. And one thing that I do appreciate that Armand points out, even though it's just him taking the heat off of him, when Daniel asked him about Louis, he's like, so where was Louis in all of this? He was just at home. And Armand was like, no, baby girl. He was at home waiting for me to give him the deets. Like, don't, like, stop. Full stop. Armand and I think Raglan from the Talamasca, they both had dropped hints to Daniel that Yes, Armand is evil. He is evil. But the person who you think you are most safest around, Louis, that nigga, he can do some shit. And like I said before, I do feel like Louis can, he can't, he has something. I feel like the way that his experience as being a black man in Jim Crow during that time, having to put on so many different personalities to literally survive, can help him and can also lead him, and not into like treachery, but can also give him the ability to come in and out of ideas, in and out of roles, and really in and out of people's lives and how they experience him so much easily and effectively that you don't even notice. And I think that's something really to pay attention to, because our mind, like, yeah, I'm fucked up, but your homeboy, he ain't as innocent. And one thing I ain't gonna lie that I really am hoping that Armand does before the end of the season, I really want him to have a fuck you moment to Gabriella. Gabriella do get on my nerves because I feel like she only used Lestat just to get what she wants out of him. It's like she wants to be a villain through him. Bitch, do it on your own. You a vampire in that hoe. Damn. And I want Armand because he already said fuck you to Lestat, fuck Louis, fuck Nikki, fuck Claudia. Now all that's left is fuck you and your mama too, hoe. Like I, I really want that from Lestat, not Lestat, but Armand. Going into Lestat, baby girl was going through it this episode. Lestat trying to record this album, put these put all these beats and these touches down. And it's so interesting now. He got Sam working for him. But when him and Louis were in episode 2, I believe, having that little, I guess, showdown between him and, aka Thomas Pitt, he like, why are you even employing Sam? And Louis made a point. He was like, you took my doctor, my biographer, everything, and now you over there using Sam. It's like he be trying to prove that he over Louis, but in my new he's like Armand in that way. Like, I'm still mad at you, so I'm gonna get you back in covert ways. He just ain't as deadly as Armand. Armand is like, no, I'm knocking everybody off. Heads, motherfucking heads will roll, bitch, off shoulders. I ain't playing. Whereas, whereas Lestat is like, I'm gonna hang out with the girl that I know you don't like, and it's like, why are you doing that? But he's trying to get these perfect vocals down. His ass, it's this one part that he just keeps screaming out, I guess trying to get all the emotion. He tells the girl, you need to play the drums like life after death. And his mama's in there. It's like, she can't. She doesn't understand that. She's not a vampire. And he is just working these people like hell, working them to the bone, knowing he's just going to re record all of their work, which is even fucked up. So it's like you are taken from them, knowing that you, child, just like any other corporation. But he keeps going outside, I guess, trying to get the effect to scream the pain that he wants. Literally fire roasted his damn self in the sun. And after he get done, he literally looks like a busted sausage link on the grill. Like, damn, 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 char grill to the max. And it's char grill to the max. And what's so interesting with the band is that how Armand plays in again. The guitarist Larry, Lestat is so hard on him. When he's going around telling everybody what their role is, and he leaves the shitty part for Larry. He's like, "You're my fragility. Pretty much, you're my fuck up. You're the thing that makes me not good enough." And even though he doesn't think Larry is a good guitarist, Larry adds that kind of point of contention that makes it real, that really brings out the real feelings. And Armand, child, he finds a way to fuck with Lestat again. He, at the end, Larry decides to leave the group because he's just tired of the physical, mental, emotional abuse of Lestat. But the rest of the crew wants to stay, and it's so interesting now that his brother is back. He's now a part of the group that wants to stay like Larry was before when his brother left. And he was like, no, like they all cut themselves like we would rather be vampires so that you can finish this album. And Lestat is telling them no, which he's telling them like, the great pain of being a vampire, but I think he's also flattered by the fact that, oh shit, y'all love me that much. Okay. And Larry leaves to encounter a fan at the subway, but also Armand, who tells him that he wants to rest. And he's like, rest? And then he said, I do want to rest. And this mofo walks out on the train tracks and ends himself by getting ran over by the train. And it's like, Armand, you done killed Larry, but you became Larry's brother's sponsor in the AA meeting. And that's how he came back to the band. Saw your ass in the audience when Lestat was singing that fucked up song to you. And now you gonna go and kill his brother. Child, and that's really gonna fuck with the band because Lestat really likes, I can't think of Larry's brother's name right now, but he really likes him as a musician. Once he know that his brother has killed himself, the very thing that the band was stressing him out, that his brother took his own life, but he was willing to become a vampire. And now he gonna figure out, I don't know how he gonna figure out, but to know that an actual vampire, the one that he met, is the one who, I'm telling you, Armand find a way to test some shit up. He do. And to stay on Lestat, we also get we we see an image of him talking with his mama. And I'm finally glad that he tell her, bitch, you was a terrible ass mama. Because he's having flashbacks of when his mama took him to the burning of teenage girls who were accused of witches. And it's like, bitch, why would you subject your child to that? But you know what? Those colored folk have always been historically known to subject their children to such violence to like get them to behave a certain way. And it's like, it's on brand, even though it's fucked up, it's on brand. Y'all do shit like that. Later on in the show, which is I would say the catalyst, really the cherry on top of this episode, is that we finally meet the Queen Mother, Akasha. But we first meet Magnus, and we meet him because he digs Lestat up out of the ground. This is, I believe, after the death of Nikki or something like that. And he goes into the ground for 80 years or so. And yeah, it's after the death of Nikki because Magnus pulls him out and he takes him, I guess, into this dungeon where he's been keeping um Akasha and her male partner, Enkil, I believe that's how you say his name. And he pretty much gives him the rundown of how they are to be kept, and they are the keepers. Magnus told him he was once the keeper, but now Lestat has been chosen to be the keeper. And Lestat is like, I'm not worthy. I don't know what to do. And Magnus is pretty much telling him, well, she loves music. Play music. And he's like, well, I don't know how to play. And he's like, well, mimic your lover of the past. So he's referencing to Nikki. But we find that Magnus ain't dead like Armand told us. He even Lestat was like, Armand told me you were destroyed. And Magnus is like, no. And then when he mentions Armand's name, he says the rotten boy. So it just really, we really need a backstory. Like the way that we have gotten everyone else's origin story played out. I hope next season we get Armand's origin story played out, because when you really think about it, he done been through some shit. Like he was sold into slavery, forced to work in a brothel. He says that his maker Magnus pretty much had his way with him, and then forced into vampirism. And if I'm not mistaken, like forced to be a coven leader. It's that Armand have been through it, and that's why I think he's just so cutthroat in the way that he is. But with Lestat and Magnus, what I've noticed with Magnus is that he seems to be very methodical in his keeping of Akasha. He tells Lestat that the reason why, they burn is because I think he messed up something with Akasha and Ankil. He left Ankil out when he was supposed to be making sure that he was keeping them, but pretty much he tells Lestat that they are all connected and she is the mother of their being. So if anything happens to her, it will happen to every vampire. So if she burns, all vampires will burn. And he's pretty much telling Lestat to find himself in taking care of Akasha because he's lost himself in taking care of Akasha pretty much. And so Lestat is down there for, it seems like, a long time, like a very long time. He brings her things that he's found. Like we finally find out that I guess new inventions are coming out, like ice cream scooper. He brings her an ice cream scooper, and the fact that the word is scoop, Lestat has never heard that word before. He's saying it to her, and Akasha is telepathically like interacting with him. She's like mimicking words that he's saying at a very airy rate and keeping it elongated. And then she's starting to tap her fingers. And Lestat is getting, really intrigued, like what is going on. And also, Magnus tells him to not give her blood or to not drink her blood or let her drink your blood because blood overwhelms. He says, bring the ashes of a person, possibly a vampire, but of a kill, possibly. But he's like, don't bring the blood. And Akasha, through time, she awakens because, mind you, she's stoned, but she's still very much alive. And she awakens and she sits up, and Lestat is interacting with her, and then she reaches out to him as like to grab his hand, and he goes to touch her hand, and she pulls him and starts feeding on him, bit into this motherfucker's neck, like she chawing on him. And so as she gets his blood, and that's how he gets the blood of Akasha in him, he's spinning up in the air. And then Magnus comes back down like days later during this time. And he sees Lestat up in the air. And he like, you gave her the blood. I told you not to do that. You're unworthy. Mind you, when Lestat first said he was unworthy, Magnus told him that he was worthy. But because of Magnus, he's made this fuck up. Now Akasha is, alive and alert. And Magnus, I could be saying this out of order, but Magnus is like, it's going to take me forever to get her back down the way she was, still. But as she is awakened, she does this fantastical, the actress who plays her, Sheila Tim, I believe, her monologue is so moving. Like, it speaks to, I think, every woman, also every black woman, but every woman. Like, she starts her monologue off questioning herself. Why am I this? Why am I that? Why are all these things? Like, you could just hear the confusion, the bewilderment, the almost like the amusement. Like, why do I know these things? Why do I have these things? And then you hear her transform into like this anger, like a feminine rage. When they say hell have no fury like a woman scorned, you hear it in her voice when she's saying, I am the girl, I. And she says, I am the answer. And I was like, yes, baby girl, you are. And the episode ends with such powerful, that powerful voice, that powerful image, that powerful stance as her, as the queen mother of all vampires, as a woman, to say, I am the answer, literally the answer of everything, especially when you think about the female is the answer to humanity. She is the creator of humanity. So of course she will be the creator on the other side as well. And it's just wow. And also to see Lestat in this moment trying to figure out how to tend to her, it is amusing to see him in like a lighthearted and confused way. It's almost childlike. And I think that's what's the good juxtaposition between him and Magnus as keepers, because Magnus, obviously, he's old because he is an old vampire, but he's just old in his ways. Like, it has to be like this. Whereas Lestat is the youthful young thing that just goes by impulse, and now he's the new keeper of Akasha. Let me know if I missed anything. If you did enjoy the review, let me know in the comments. Also, just let me know your feedback on the episode as well and how you felt about it. And there's only 2 more episodes left. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, damn, 2 years and we just got 7 episodes. But this show is profound in every way. So putting it on, I can see how it is 7 episodes. But damn, it's just only 2 more episodes.